today we want like to learn how to work with files. We will mostly cover the text files. Basically, there are like different concepts, not different concepts, but like different ways how you can store your data, and we can categorize them into two main subgroups. The first one is like text files, everything that you can open with, for example, with a text editor, such as the Notepad or some other similar tools. There are like Sublime Text, Vim, etc. And there are like also binary files, which are usually not in the text format way, because usually it's like something else. For example, images or music, movies. Usually they stored as a binary files, which means that it's like just like a sequence of the bytes, megabytes of information, and there is like some specific usually structure of the file, and then for each extension our like PC or particular program knows how to parse the content of the binary file and display us image, music, whatever. So yeah, and if you look on the website, so you can see that there are like popular text files. Usually they ends with a TXT file format, HTML, CSS, binary files. Probably I can even show you. So yeah, binary files is like JPEG, MP3, executable files. And we will start with the text files, which are like very simple. And one of the also important for us type of text files, it's CSV files, for example, TSV files. For some particular tasks, you can find another text files in terms of the analysis of gene expression data or something like that. But we need to start from something very simple. And let's create a new file in our Visual Studio Code, and let's call it, you can call it in any way, I'll just call it code.txt, and I want to put this content to the file. And we just like simply created a text file, right? And now so our task is somehow to open this file inside of the Visual Studio Code, inside of the Python, get access to it, and start working with this file. I mean, like, try to modify it, try to do different things with the files. So let's create a file, Python file. I'll call it like files.py in some crazy way. And if we want to open the file, we can use the specific function, built-in function, which is called like open. And now we need to provide the path to the file. And guys, do you know about the relative and absolute path?
Yes.
Yes, like
So,
yeah,
yeah.
so like if it is in the same directory, yeah, if this file in the same directory, it will be the relative path, yeah, and if it's somewhere else on our machine, then we put the absolute path.
Yeah, for example. Yeah,
Yes?
for example. Yeah. And I will use just the relative path in this particular case. And you can see, so I'm like using the Linux notation that dot corresponds that this is the current directory. And inside of the current directory, I want to specify path to the quote.txt. And also I need to pass one argument right after the path. And in my case, I pass the R argument, which stands for read file. And basically, by default, open usually assume that you want to open file for reading. And in reality you can kind of skip this part, but I want just to make it more explicit in the beginning, but then at some moment we will also stop explicitly specifying R. But also there are like different modes how we can open the file. So R when we want to read the file, just like to take the content of the file and then maybe like perform different operations inside of the program that we have. Also we can write to the file. You can see it's like W. And in this case, if you had file with some content and if you opened it for writing and you started writing into it, you will remove the original content of the file. Yeah, if you have like a binary file, as I said, for example, music, image, then you can open it as a binary file. Also, and then you can like go through the file byte by byte, or like, yeah, usually it's like by bytes, you're going through the file, reading the content. Also, you can write to the binary file. This we will not cover today, but if you want like to just learn it, then you can try to, I don't know. So for example, I know that sometimes for some people there is a task which you need, where you need like to fetch the meta information from the MP3 songs. As you know, in MP3 we have like a music, right? But also when you open it, like for example, I don't know, before we had like a programs, and usually people stored all the music locally. Right now it's like mostly some streaming services, but before it was like that you had like your collection of the music locally, and then for example if you have a player on your PC, then you can see that sometimes you have like information about the artist, information about the song. Also, you know, like sometimes you have like a mini icon of the song, and basically all this information stored inside of the binary file, and there are some notation, some like defined order of the bytes inside of the file that you can like, for example, then try to reproduce the same program by yourself. I mean, like just to, for example, to work with the metadata of the file, and then you can like read it. You need like to read the MP3 metadata structure architecture. Like in internet there is like a web page where it's like specified, and then you can like read it, for example, modify it. Yeah. And the last one is like append to file, which stands that if you want like to open the file and then append to the end of the file a new information. And let's just like go through the file. For example, we can write print file dot, and you can see that there are like a lot of different methods and attributes that we can use. For example, there is a read line, read lines, seek, seekable. So there are like a lot of them. We will cover just part of it. Let's just, for example, try to use read line, the method read line. And also one important part, whenever you open a file with the built-in function open, at some moment you need to close it. Because, for example, if you open the file during your program and your program is like a long program, there are a lot of lines, and let's say that you want just like to read something in the beginning, perform something with the file, but then you are not going to utilize it later on in the program, then you need to close it. Because in this case, if you, for example, had this file opened, it can lead to some problems in general with because the resources are like taken, and if you know that you are not going to use it anymore, then it's better to close it. For example, if you have like some ongoing app, which, I don't know, let's assume that you have like a web server, right? And you open the file, and this file is always will be opened by the program until the end of the program. And it's not a good idea, because sometimes it can lead like to problems that you can, for example, try to modify the file without any Python scripts. So it's good to memorize that if you open the file in this way, then somewhere you should close it. Okay, now let's, if you avoid this part, you will not get any errors. But from logical point of view, it's not a good idea to have file opened all the time. If you finished your work with the file, then you need to close it. And let's run it. And you can see that we got the first line from our quote file by using the readLine method, which very logical, right? We have a method which reads the line. We took the first line. If you want to read the next one, you just need to put it one more time, because after you read the first line, Python remembers where it stopped inside of the file. There is like a pointer which goes through the file, and then if we read the first line, then we remember where we right now inside of the file, and then next call of the read line will give us a new line. Also, you can then, as we saw before, for example, add strip method to remove all white space like symbols from the end and from the beginning of the lines, and then so you don't have extra new line symbol in the end, because by default inside of the file we have a new line symbol and we read it with the whole line, and then we have one new line symbol in our string, and also print adds one more new line symbol, and because of that we had this gap. Yeah, so this is about how you can read. Also, I want just to show you that you can iterate through the file. So for example, for line in file, we can do print line dot strip. And now we went through the whole file. Also, for example, if you want to read the whole file, there is a possibility to do it in the way that you use print file read. And we read the whole file, but I wouldn't recommend you to use this approach. I mean, guys, do you have any thoughts? Why should we, for example, use, just like ideas. Why, for example, why we prefer using iteration through the lines, or like reading line by line something like that. But usually we don't want to read the whole file. So do you have any ideas why?
Maybe because it's too big. It can be like maybe several thousand lines in this file.
Yeah, that's right. So sometimes you can face with the case that your file, you can have a text file which I don't know, like let's say like 16 gigabytes or even more. It's possible, especially like in the field of this system biology. Sometimes some programs produce very huge files, and then especially if you're trying to do it locally on your laptop, you will hit the you will overflow your memory, and it's like gonna just crash your program. Also, anyway, if you're like even on the cluster on a high on a high efficient cluster on a server, usually you have more memory, but it's also better to write efficient programs which are not like uptaking all the available memory. And when we do iterating through the lines, we will just take line by line from our text file, and usually sometimes it's like better. It also depends, because you can, for example, store the whole data just as a one single line, right? And in this case it's not gonna help you. But in this particular case, you need to know that the file that you have is like just a sequence of the, I don't know, characters, and there are no like new line symbol. And in this case, probably you better like to read by some parts of it by using the like methods which saying that I want like just to read this amount of data. And yeah, This is just like as a side note.
Yeah, in Bash, there was this command head, yeah, for reading
Yeah.
tables. Maybe there is something similar here too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, so if you just look, for example, file, yeah, like if you go over the methods that you have here, so you definitely can find that there are like methods which allow you to read just like some part of the data. So for example, if you open the method seek, you can see that you can change stream position to the given byte offset. So that means that you can like specify from the beginning of the file where you want like to put the pointer and then read some particular amount of the data. But it's more about, so usually people using it with binary files, but still it can be used even, I mean, any text file also can be opened as a binary file. And for sure there are like other like tools which allow you to open files, not a built-in method, but it's also good to know about how to accomplish it with the default tools, built-in tools. And if we don't want to bother ourselves with opening and closing the file, so in Python actually there are it's called context managers, and they allow us like to just open the file and don't bother ourselves with closing it. Python will close it right away by itself. So let's just take a look on it. To do this, we need like to use the syntax with, then we need like to put open. So basically it's like the same as we had before. And then we say that we open this file as, and we're just assigning the name for the file. And then let's just print impf. I just want to check what kind of object you will get to the standard output. And you can see that we got like some text input output wrapper, and this is the name of the file, the mode in which we opened it, and also there is the encoding. Sometimes some files uses different encodings, and you can specify in reality the encoding during the process of opening file. In this case it's like UTF-8, which in our particular case fine. Sometimes, for example, you can create text files on a Windows system, and in particular cases it can use different encoding, and then it could lead to the issue when you're opening the file and you will see just like strange characters, like a bunch of strange characters, and sometimes it relates to the point that the encoding is different, and then we can specify it during the process when we are trying to open the file. And here we can do the same things that we did before. So this is just like how the object of impf looks like. That it's like basically it's like an object that allow us to read the file in the same way. So for example, now I can just go through the lines. For line in impf, print line.strip, and you can see, so it's like basically the same. Nothing new. And the beauty of this part that I don't need like to close it. Now after this part is done, I mean like when the body of this context manager is finished, Python will close this file by itself. So we don't need like to memorize it. And because of that, so I just like suggest you in your programs, instead of instead of using just simply open and close, you can replace it by using this context, like open, with open, and so on. Yeah. In reality, so you can handle in this way if you have, for example, two files. Let's say that we have like input.txt. I'll put just random stuff here. Something like that. And you can open multiple files simultaneously. So for example, with the same syntax of with open, quote.txt. And as I said, so by default, Python opens it in a reading mode. So from this point, I will just avoid it if I want to open it in a reading form, in a reading mode. So as imp f, for example, or input one, let's call it input one, and then we can put comma, open input txt as imp2. And then for line in imp2, we can print it line strip. And you can see, so in this way we opened multiple files here. Sometimes if you just need like to work simultaneously on the files, right? And in this case, for example, we can get line by line. So for example, L1, and let's call another as a V1, I don't know. L1 it's imp1 read line, and V1 is like imp2 read line. Strip. Yeah, we can avoid strip. I just use it because then I'm using print method and I want just have everything nice and clean. And then I can print first line from imp1 is L1. And then first line from imp2 is V1. Let's run it. Yeah, and it's like just as a example that you can open, for example, two files simultaneously, and then maybe you know that these files somehow like relate to each other. That the first line in the first file somehow correspond to the first line in the second file, and then you can do it in this case, in this way. So let's check. Yeah, this is about reading. Yeah, this is just as an example how we can read the lines. I already showed you. Also that we can iterate through the file, right? And now, how can we write the files? So let's create a new file. I'll call it like writing to file.py. And so basically in this case, we want to specify something that is going to be stored in the file. And let's just put something, text, and we can use the multiple line string. Right? And let's specify something in the same way. So first line, second line, and third line. And let's add something, the last line. Okay, this is our text and we want to create a file and save this information to the file. So to do this, we can use the same syntax like with open. Now we need to specify the name of the file to which we want to save this data. I'll call it like output.txt, and now I need to change the mode because default mode is like reading, but I want to write. And then we need to specify the like a label or name of the file. I mean like for the variable. And now you can like write out f, write, right, and put text here. So let's just check it. And you can see, so we created a new file, which is like output.txt, right? And this is our content. We have extra new space here and here because, so I have new line symbol in reality here, and also I have new line symbol here. To avoid it, we can also use strip. And now you can see that we don't have the information that was before. We overwrite the file. But now if I want to also add something to the file, we can simply append. Change the mode to the append. And now, for example, if I run it like, I don't know, a lot of times, we will have a bunch of the lines inside of the file. Yeah, and this is just like simply about files. So guys, do you have any question about it? No?
Right.
Okay, then let's solve the task. So let's implement very simple, naive program that will handle CSV files. We will not definitely cover all possible cases of the handling the CSV file. We will like just do it in a very simple way. So let's call that we have input CSV, and now okay, I just want to specify some values here. So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Let's say that we have again some 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, and this is our input file. So and now we want to put the reading csv.py. So in your task, guys, right now it's like to implement the program which will take the input CSV, and you need like to get the like let's call it like a variable u, and in the end this variable should be like a list of all these entries. So like a string 1, string 2, string 3, then string A, string B, and string C, and then the last is like a string 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So this should be the output, and you need like to specify your code here, and result should be that u is a list of lists. Yeah. So okay, you have time, you can like work on it, and this is an example of the input. Probably I can even somehow put it in this way. Let's install. Okay,
Yeah, can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have this file, yeah, a text file that we have to process, yeah. And the title of this file, is it any or is it some particular?
So you can call the name in any way, but extension, let's put CSV.
CSV, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the contents of this file, could you kind of share it? Or,
Yeah, it's like here, right here.
where?
Like on the right side of the screen. So here, this
On
is
the
the content.
right side.
Yeah, input CSV 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. This is the content.
Yeah. Okay, I can see the output. Yeah, this U, right? And where is the input?
So it's like right here. I mean, like right now I'm like hovering with my mouse, my mouse over it. Do you see it?
Okay. Okay, because I had it enlarged. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Now I can see it.
So yeah, this is the content of the file, and we want to read. So basically, we want like to specify some code that takes the file, and in the end, we want like to store the content as a list of lists. You can call it U or whatever you want, but the idea is like to get this list of lists.
Okay, input CSV.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Just a second.
Yeah.
Maybe can I share the code?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I will put it in chat, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe it's wrong, but I don't know.
Let's check it. So with open, I can just simply copy it. So okay, let's just like discuss it. So guys, what are your ideas? Oh, we have like also another solution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe loops because our file can be very big, but it's not enough 3 lines. Yes.
Yeah, for example, we can optimize it, yeah, and say that we have arbitrary number of lines, right? And we can somehow make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have another solution, right? Okay. So let's take a look on this one particular. So when we want like, let's like as a programmers, let's try to work on this one, and then I will take a look on the other like solutions as well. So yeah, the idea was that probably we can like somehow, you can just like right away see sometimes that we have like the same line, even for example in Visual Studio Code, if I select it, right, it highlights me that the same lines somewhere like in the file. And usually when you see it, that something is like repeating over and over again, then usually it's better to somehow wrap it up in the loop or is it in a function.
Yes.
Right. And in this particular case, for example, we can just perform it. I mean, like for this particular case, when we have just 3 lines in an input, it's gonna work, right? So let's just print also the result that it was. So print list of L1, L2, L3, and let's just check. Does it work or no? So, and we can see that the list expected at most 1 argument got 3. So we can just put it in this way. Now we have list and the first element is L1, L2, L3. And basically So right now we have just like one element in each list, and this is because we didn't specify anything inside of the split method, right? Because by
so it was
default,
like space, no?
yeah, by default it splits by the white space, but we want to split it by the comma symbol. This is a like CSV stands for the comma separated values.
Yes, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so and basically now we can try to run it one more time. And you can see, so now we have exactly what we wanted, right? But here we just print it and we want to store it somewhere. So for example, in my case, it was like U, right? And then we can just like write U. Probably for now we can even comment this part. So
Yeah, and why don't we need to put this list operation, like when we create the list of lists, does it automatically make a list of lists, or because of these brackets, or
so
like
list,
why?
so difference between list and so this is a, for example, function, right? And also there is a like a syntax which provided by the Python that we can use square brackets, and inside of them specify our elements. This function usually used, for example, if you want like to create an empty list, right? Let's say that we want like to create an empty list. I will comment everything for now. So I want to create an empty list. I can use like U is equal to list, right? And then let's just print U. And so this is my list. But even in this case, I can just write this syntax, right? So I can like say that I have like empty square brackets. And in this case, it's gonna be the same. So the result is the same. And in this particular case, so I just should ask myself, which statement I should prefer, like list or square brackets. In my case, it's square brackets because I just need to put two symbols instead of 6, right? Which is like just like simpler. But list indeed used like in some particular cases. For example, when we want like to convert something from another data type to a list, then we use it. For example, if I have like a string, right, and I want to convert it to the list. And now you can see, so the string was converted to the list. So this is just like as a
okay.
yeah. When we want like to
so when you want to convert,
when we want to convert, from for example, from the string, from the set. So for example, if you have a set, also you can convert it. Okay, and now let's go back a little bit, and now just we want to also slightly rewrite this part to just like try to avoid the repetition.
Yeah, repetition. Yeah, to use some loop. Yeah.
Yeah, and as
Like-
we saw, so we can like go through the each line for line in. But in this particular case, I wouldn't call it like out1 because we read the file, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we read the file, and usually when we read, we assume that it's like input data. Yeah,
okay.
out is usually
It's
when
output. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I thought it was output. Yeah.
So let's call it like inpf. And then for line in the path, and now we can just like simply copy and paste one of these statements that I just want you append here like line, strip, split. Let's just remove this part. And now you was like declared in the beginning, and we simply append new elements to the our final result. So yeah, but since I just gave you 3 lines, that also works. But in reality, for example, how I usually reach the tasks, I usually try to make a solution which is like more generic. Of course, it's not like it's not happening all the time, because I can like write some program and then like I will find out that in some particular cases it's like it's broken, it doesn't work. Then I need like to reshape it, rewrite it. Yeah, but let's go through the other solution. So we have like a solution from the so now I see that there is updated version from Alexandra, and now it works, right?
Yes, I have the mistake at first and then I checked.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, also we have like a solution from Ekaterina, which is, let's take a look on this one. Ekaterina, so did you try it? Does it work?
I don't try it because I didn't have the CSV file.
But you
I
could create.
just write.
I see. Let's just take a look. So, or let's try from the Dmitry solution. So Dmitry, does it work?
Yes,
Nice.
but
So
it's, I think, basically the same solution. I just did it in 2 steps, like combine lines and then append the result.
Right. So okay, let's just take a look on this one, because this one I believe we need to slightly change. I will remove everything that I had, and here is another way, right? And in reality, so let's just replace this with our file name. It's like input CSV. But you can see so that the Visual Studio Code saying me that something is strange. So if I highlight here, it's like saying that I can fix it, import CSV, because my editor sees that I use some name, but it's not like inside of my scope. But in reality, so there is indeed module which allows you to read CSV files. Let's import it and let's just check it. And we want to print result. And yeah, it works, it makes the same. But in reality, so if you work with a CSV, definitely you usually don't want to implement it by yourself, because in reality there could be like much more nuances. So for example, in reality you could have like values which are like, let's say that my decimal numbers they use comma symbol as a specifying the integer part and the fraction of it. In this case, your CSV will be something like that. You will have like quotes around the value, and now so you can run it, and you can see that it works like perfectly, right? There are no any errors. It handles these quotes automatically, this module. But for example, the solution that we provided in the beginning would not like handle it properly, because we will see that there is a separator. This is a separator for us. This is a separator, and basically in the end we will have like, this is our first element in the list, this is a second, third, fourth, and so on. So yeah, it works, Ekaterina, right? Everything.
Yeah, so can I ask a question? This CSV.reader, it is some special function related to this import CSV.
Yeah.
So, and what does it do?
So import CSV is a specific module which was built to work with the comma separated values, and there is a different functions inside of it. So the reader takes the file. So in this case, we passed the file to the reader, and then it can go through the lines of the CSV file.
Okay.
By default, it knows how to parse it properly, because you can see we didn't specify split, strip, anything, right?
I see.
Just right away split it into individual elements.
Yeah, so first we kind of work with the whole file. Yeah, like when we say A is this csv.reader. Yeah, so we kind of create new type of file. Yeah.
So it's just this is a specific object of from the CSV module, for reading the CSV files. And so we like substituted our input file by the new reader, which knows how to parse CSV files properly. And as I showed you, so it's like more capable of different particular cases. In this one, so we see that in reality, CSV file really could be like something like that. And then, because of that, we can read it without any problems. Because let's just take, for example, the solutions that we created in the beginning. I will comment this part. And this is our solution, right? And let's run it. And you can see so that the problem in this case that we cannot handle properly the last line. Because in reality, comma can be a separator, but comma also can be like as a content of the element. Yeah. And because of that CSV, so yeah, and usually we encapsulate comma symbol, which is just a content, by double quotes around it. And then, yeah, we can like read it. You can definitely adjust your solution in reality. You can kind of build your own parser for CSV files. But
yes, and I have a question about this solution with a reader, with this reader function. We were supposed to create lists, and then a list of lists. And in this solution, where can we see that we are creating lists?
So we created list in the beginning, the final, right, where we will store. And for row in A, in reality, row inside of this like reader, it's gonna be a list. Like
it's by default.
Yeah, by default. So we can just.
Okay. So.
Oh, sorry, row. Yeah, you can see, so it's like by default a list, and we just append a list inside of our like original list, and we have indent list of lists.
Okay.
So Ekaterina, did you want to say something before?
No, nothing.
Okay, nice. So guys, that's very good. Okay, let's now switch to the regular expressions. So we just like make a brief overview of files. In reality, there are like much more nuances, different cases, but you will face with them during your work, right? And I cannot like, cover everything. Usually you will find out that there is like some particular data format, some particular data type, file type, and you will try to find how to work. In reality, so on the previous lesson, we saw, for example, that we can read images in Python by using the scikit image module. So as one of the examples, you can now handle some basic images and convert them to the NumPy arrays by using the scikit image module. Okay, now let's go to the regular expressions. And guys, so did you hear about it already?
A little bit, yeah. So I heard about them when we were studying for Bash and Linux.
Yeah.
So they also exist there. Yeah.
Yeah, they like in reality exist everywhere. I mean, like that you can use the regular expression probably in most of the programming languages. And in the Bash, like in the terminal, because it's a very useful thing. Let's just switch to it. So regular expressions. And in my mind, so the main idea about the regular expressions is like when we want like to find some particular type of the substring in the whole string. And in Python, we have specific module which called like re, and it allows us like to utilize regular expressions. In reality, there are like also like other packages, but this one is like a built-in default that we can use. And as you can see, so there are like three main components of the regular expression. It's a pattern, text, and match. So what does it mean? So we specify some pattern that we want to find inside of our data. For example, let's say that you have a huge spreadsheet and you want to find all dates there, or you want to find all phone numbers there, or you want to find all emails, right? And you just know that there is some pattern for this type of data, but you don't know like right away what kind of the entries inside of your file are. And in this case, we can like specify just a pattern by using some specific syntax of regular expressions. Then we have our file or our text where we are trying to perform the search, and the match, it's a result of our like procedure. So we either found something or we didn't find anything. And here is an example so that we can, let's just call it like a basic string search.py. So here our text. So we have the text and we have the pattern. In this case, you can see that I specified my pattern very explicitly. This is a substring that I want to find inside of the original string, of the original text. And now I can just run it, right? And for example, so it says to me that we indeed found something, because I can check that the pattern is a substring of the text by using the in operator. And also strings, they have built-in methods. In this one I use the find method, and find returns me the index where the substring starts. If it's like inside of the string, right? If I put something, I don't know, something strange, let's put, I don't know, some weird stuff. Why? You can see though that we found that it's like -1, which means that we didn't find the position for our pattern in the string. And yeah, we just check that it's not there. But in reality, so there is a regex approach which uses the module re, and let's just start working on it. So regex basics.py, and we will see why it's like better, right? So for now, you just see that we have like more lines of code, but we will find out that it's like much better. Let's just run it. So, and what can we find, right? So this is our text again, this is our pattern, and then we use a search method where we specify our pattern, our text. And now, so res, if it's like not none, because if we perform search and we didn't find anything, we will have none as a result. But here, since we found the philosophy inside of our text, we will know where is the start of the pattern, where is the end, and what is the span. So it's like basically from beginning to the end. Yeah, and also if you convert the result of the search to the Boolean data type, you can see that it's true. And this is just as an example that we can perform the same thing with the regular expressions. But in reality, so yeah, here is a list of different functions that re module has. But let's just go to the most important part. It's based on the meta characters that we can utilize inside of the regular expressions. And we will start from the dot meta character, and simply it means that if we have like dot inside of our pattern, that means that it can be like any character instead of this dot, right? So let's just take a look on the example. So I'll comment this part. So here we have like our words. ABC, A1C, A minus C, AC, ABDC. And now we have a pattern. So how it looks like, we have that in our pattern, we expect that the first symbol will be A. And then for the second one, so we want like to find all possible strings which starts from A, then they have like any arbitrary symbol, and then they have C. So and now let's just like search. You can see, so we are like going through each word in our list, and then we looking, so is there like our, so if we find it, we will print that it's like the word and it's true. Otherwise it's like the word and it's false, right? So when you can see for this particular case, for ABC, it matches our pattern because we have like A, any arbitrary symbol, and then C, and B, it's like just any arbitrary symbol that we can like catch. Then A1C also correct, A minus C correct, but AC false because this is just two symbols, but we expect to have three. And then ABDC also false because it's like four symbols. And yeah, so it's not like corresponds to our pattern. So guys, is it clear about the dot meta character?
Yes, and could you explain a little bit this line pattern is re.compile and then in the brackets this R? Yeah, what does this mean?
So basically R means row, and it means that so if you have like some special characters inside of the line, Python will think that it's just like a character, not a. So for example, if you have a /t like for tabulate symbol, right?
Yes.
Then row like will assume that it's a slash and then t. Yeah, and compile. So compile basically is like to convert it to the regex object.
Okay,
So
okay.
we can like
so R
pattern.
makes us think that these quote marks are not symbols or something like this. No?
So let's just take a look on an example. So yeah, you can see so that the pattern is a recompile of AC, but what is the part about R in front of the line? So for example, if I have like right now /new, right? You can see that I printed it as a /new, but if I have like just /new, Python assumes that it's a new line symbol. And row, so like R means like row string, that we don't want to convert these like special characters to the like new line symbol or like to tabulate some symbol, yeah.
And these quote marks can mean something, you mean?
Quotes marks, it's like just a string. That means just string. Yeah. R
So why do we need it then if we have nothing but quote marks here?
So
we don't have any tab, any slashes, yeah, in our example.
I mean, like, so basically we just like we specify the string, right? So this is a string, and then if I want to say that it's like a row string, I need to put R in front of it. It's like in the same way as we had like F strings, when we use F in front of the string to format it. Then we know that we can like use the curly brackets inside of the string to utilize it. But here we're just saying that this is a string, right? So it could be like ABC, for example, ABC /n. Yeah, and then R means that it's like so if I run it, you can see so that it's assumed that everything is like a character.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like general rule that we use this R in this method, yeah?
Yeah, I mean like so because we will see that there are like some particular symbols, meta characters that supposed to be like just as a row string.
Okay.
Sorry, why we have in fstring W more than 4?
This is just like to format it, like just to put, so when I run it, you can see that they like all perfectly aligned. So they like right. So if we, for example, just put W, you can see that it's like slightly disorganized. Like for example, false here, not aligned with the true here, right? Because AC here occupies just like two positions. But when I put like to align it to the right in the field of 4 elements, then we have just like a perfect aligned, like everything starts like in the same position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe some other questions, or that's it? Okay. So yeah, this is about the search that we found, and also you can utilize the same like thing that we used before. So you can like find the start position, end position. But in this particular case, we had like just like very simple strings, and we just wanted to match them, right? Yeah, and this is an example about R string or row string. Yeah. So, and you can see that the purpose is to break, like to work with this like backslashes. And we can just print, copy and paste it. Just like one more time to clarify it. So you can see that the row line is not like split it into separate lines. We don't have like a tab symbol, but like just regular line when we don't have like a row identifier in the beginning. It's like just a line that we usually use with the print method. Okay. So yeah, and for example now, if we want to say that we have just like a regular dot inside of the pattern, we need to encapsulate it in a row pattern, because in a row dot means like any symbol. But if you want like to really just catch the dot symbol, you need to put the slash symbol in front of it, backslash. Okay, I always confused with the slash backslash, but I think that you are like following the idea. So let's just copy and paste it. Let's just check. So here we have two patterns. The first one is like the same that we had before, and sometimes you can even like omit this part with a recompile, and it works in the same way. And here we have like a raw string, but now we want like to find just this line, for example. We are just like really searching for A.C, not like ABC, A minus C. So when let's just take a look. We have like the word ABC, right? And P1 in ABC. P1 is like A, any arbitrary symbol C. Yeah, it's like matches to our pattern. P2 and ABC, no, it doesn't, because here we have just like a real dot character. We want to find like dot character. And because of that, we found it in the second element, which is like A.C. And for all others, so it's like false, false. But this one correct for all of them. So guys, so what do you feel like about the regular expression so far? Nothing.
That it can be useful method working with tables probably.
Yeah. In my mind, so in the beginning, it's a little bit confusing. There are like all these like different characters, but it may seems like, do you know the movie this like about the Bruce and he like got the power of the god?
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and sometimes like about regular expressions, they are showing that when his like colleague was like in front of this camera and he started like just pronouncing some weird shit, right? And so yeah, basically you can think about it as regular expressions. There is like just like a bunch of like some weird stuff, but it makes sense. It makes sense, and it really allows you to find a lot of things in the text data.
Yes, yes, and like for example, when we have some columns in some tables and we want to, for example, merge some columns or separate them, yeah, so we can use it, yeah, to using these regular expressions, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like there are a lot of different use cases for sure.
And in Python, you can like easily work with these big tables, yeah, with many lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were trying to work with these big tables in Linux, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, Python. Someone told me that in Python it's easier, even easier.
I mean, like Bash, just like from my point of view, Bash has like very specific syntax, which I, for example, don't like. They're like, if you want like to specify something there, it's like usually very painful, because Python is more like human readable. There are like a lot of different like type of quotes, a lot of different type of like this, how you can specify the string or like the, I mean, like it's like very messy in my mind. But yeah, indeed, you can like definitely work with huge tables. If it's like, for example, TSV, there are like specific packages for that, for sure. But for some cases, sometimes Bash is more preferred. Especially, for example, if you have a server, there is no guarantee that you will have Python and Python with an updated version. And sometimes it's not like very easy to put like to install Python on some like old server. I mean, like on a new one you definitely will have it, but sometimes you don't want to overload your environment. So for example, in some cases you can create like a virtual machine, and let's say that you created a virtual machine using the Docker images, containers, and you have like a Docker container as a, let's think about it as a virtual machine. You can run there like Linux, you can run there like whatever you want, but then, for example, you know that you use it somewhere like in the cloud, and just like simply to launch the Docker, if you installing all these dependencies there, sometimes it could be, it can consume more resources that you can like allow to consume. And then so indeed you can like switch from Python to Bash and perform some operations. Yeah, I was thinking about something, but I forgot. Yeah, so this is an example of another meta characters, like a dollar symbol and this like a cap symbol, that you can match the start of the string. So you want like to find the entry which starts in the beginning of the string, then you can put it. Or if you want like to find something which in the end of the string, then you can specify it in the end of your pattern. So here is our first pattern. Like we want like to find the string which contains cat, and cat should be in the beginning, in the beginning of the string. And then we want like to find dog like as a pattern inside of the whole string, which is like in the end of the in the end of the string. So, and you can see that P1, since like the first element from our lines starts from the cat, and cat in the beginning of the string, this one is a match to our P1, and dog is a match to P1, or not to P1 but to P2, right? And P1 it's not match for the second string, because cat here in the end of the string, not in the beginning. So this is the idea about these like two meta characters. And also you can, I mean, you can definitely then print in the same way that the research, it's not very efficient. I mean, like, I would create a variable in this case, but you can find the start, for example.
There's a bracket after.
What's right?
Oh no, sorry, it's okay.
Yeah, let's create just as a like a R1 as a result research of the P1L, and then I want like to convert it to bool, and here I want just to R1 start. Why it's not working? P1L, bool1. Ah, I got it. So it's not working because in some particular cases, if it's not a match, then it's none, right? And then I'm trying to get like a start position from the none. So it's supposed to be R start if R1 is not none. Otherwise, it's like -1. So yeah, so something like that. I mean, like that you can even, in the same way as we saw before, you can identify the like location of the where the pattern starts. Yeah. So and the problem was that if I have a none, right? If a none, then we don't have a start method for the none object. Yeah, so this is about the meta characters for the beginning of the string and for the end of the string. And then also you can specify the set of the characters which you want to find. And to use it, you need like to put the square brackets inside of the pattern. And then inside of the square brackets, you can specify what kind of characters you allow to be inside of your final match object. And in this particular case, let's say that we want to find all vowels, right? Vowels. It's like A, E, O, I, U. But we want like to skip all other characters. And in this case, you see that it will match to the head, hot, hit, but it's not going to match to HTT, HBT. And this is just as an example of the result that we can get. Is it clear, guys? Nice. Also, you can utilize ranges. Ranges for the Latin characters. You can put, for example, start and end. And in this case, we specify that we want like to find this is our pattern, and it corresponds to A, B, C, D up to Z, like all characters. Also, you can put like in the uppercase, and then you see that it matches to A and Z, which are like in uppercase, but it doesn't match like numbers, it doesn't match to the A, B, Y. In pattern, you can specify the range for numbers from 0 to 9, and then it's going to be just numbers. Also, you can combine them. You can put like from A to Z in the uppercase, from 0 to 9. And then you have all these elements will match. But if you have like some different character, for example, I don't know, let's say that you have star symbol or like, I don't know, exclamation mark, then you will not find it because it's not in the range. And this stands for the all word type like symbols. And this is just as an example.
Yeah, so like this without any spaces, yeah? Like small AZ, then without any space, capital A?
Yeah, without any spaces. Yeah, it's next to each other. And this is just like for one particular character. So now you can, for example, take it. Let's just copy and modify it. So you can like open the output, right? You can take a look. So current pattern is AZ, and A is true, B true, Y true, A false. So basically it's the same, but just in a Python. Let's copy and paste it. I will remove all this part. And let's just slightly change. Let's have one pattern. I have like pattern R, and now I want like to have like, for example, A, and then we can put the range. And let's put here B. AZ 09. And now words. I want just like slightly change. And now so we have like, for example, A exclamation mark B. A dot B. But then we have like A1B, I don't know, star B, AAB, something like that. And now for V in words, print like bool of research P and current word. And let's just put W2. So, and you can see so that the AB, it's not correct for us. It's not corresponds to our like pattern A.B also, because it's not in this range. And then A1B true, A star B, AAB true. Yeah. So it's like we saw before like a dot, right? Dot meta character, which like stands for anything. But this is just a subset of all possible characters, and you can like utilize ranges to specify it. So I think that we supposed to stop right now, and we will finish talking about the regular expressions in the next lesson. But you can like just at home take a look on the page, just like to get your more confident in the regular expressions, because it's like very important and very powerful. So just like as an example, let's go again like to the Fantasus, right? Just want to show you that even for this case, again, like we have this like our favorite app, Fantasus, right? And we just can look on, for example, on gene symbols, right? And there are like symbols, but here I have like some strange stuff, right? And for example, you can filter it out by using the regular expressions. You can say that I want like to find all this like all possible gene symbols which has like this kind of slash, and then you can like substitute by using some particular example. Yeah, and sometimes you have like even, I don't know, or even if you want like to substitute all numbers, for example, if you want like just to remove all numbers. I mean like it's like just from top of my mind, not like a very reasonable probably thing, but still. Yeah.
And how do you do it in Fantasus? Like, do you kind of download some file? Yeah, and which sort of file will it be?
So you can download, export the dataset, save dataset, and there are like different. So you can use the GCT versions 1.3. But as I said, so there are like a lot of different file extensions. So GCT, it's like particular one, and basically it's okay. Maybe we cannot. Why it's not working? Save dataset. Okay, I need to specify file name. Let's check if it's not like we can always find the bug in the software. So I want to save it like as 111. Okay, let's open it one more time. So you can save it as I don't know what's happening. Before it was working, guys, but you know.
Yeah, but then you kind of treat this file as we learned at the beginning, yeah?
So you
Yeah.
need to treat it in the following way. So you usually, if it's like a new format, so there is a, for example, GCT parser Python. One of the ways how you can start working on it. So and here is a way that there is a Python package which is called like cmap.py, and you then can read. You can just like take a look how organized, and then so in the GCT file format there is a particular way of organizing the data. So this is probably number of the rows, number of columns, I believe. And then there is like some meta information, and this package knows how to handle it. Or you can, if you want like to start from the scratch, right? You can GCT file format, and then you have like data format, GenSet enrichment analysis wiki, and here on a website you will find out how it looks like. So they're saying that for the 1.2 version, it's supposed to have on the next line the number of rows, then number of samples, then you see that the first column it's like a row identifier, and basically this is the information about how the GCT file organized, and then using this one, for example, you can create your own parser to this type of data. And this is a text file, so you can treat it as a text.